Hey everybody, how you doing out there? Thanks for watching. So my last couple videos, I got some comments bringing up some good points about age and, does it feel too young to move here in the 55 to 60 range? And I found it to be a very interesting point, and I thought maybe it'd be something interesting to talk about, to share with you guys and see what you think. I'm 59, as you probably all know. The Villages is a 55 plus community. I mean, there's people here that are younger. They might be married to a spouse that's 55 or over, or there might be a young person living with the older person. In general, this is a 55 plus community, right? But is 55 to 60, early 60s too young to live in the Villages? And it's a really good question. When I first got here, and I just recently moved here, I wondered that myself. Did I come too soon to a retirement community? I'm still working. I work from home, and I'm an active guy. So was moving to a retirement community, what kind of psychological effect is that going to have on me, or on anyone for that matter? Here's my philosophy on it, and we'll see what you guys think about moving to a retirement community on the younger side of being a senior, right? So if you're into the nightlife, like partying till midnight, 1 in the morning, this probably isn't the place for you. This place does party every night, but it usually ends at 9. And around 9 o'clock, the squares start dispersing and emptying out, right? But the funny part is around 4 o'clock, the party begins, as far as, live entertainment and people pulling up lawn chairs or sitting in the stands, depending on what square you're at. That's every night. So this place parties hard every night, but only until early hours, like 9 o'clock, 9:30, it starts, closing up and the streets are pretty much emptying out. I mean, there might be some other bars around here that I'm not familiar with in the Villages that stay open later, but still, I don't think, you're going to find a lot of all-nighters here, which for me is a good thing. I'm not a big partier guy like I used to be when I was young, but I do like having fun, and I do enjoy all the stuff to do around here, but I'm usually done with it about 9 o'clock myself, so I'm okay with that. But if you're the type that's still very active into the evening, you might want a community that's closer to a metropolitan area like Orlando, or maybe along the coastal areas like Sarasota, things like that. Being in my 50s, well, I'm turning 60 this year, so I'm right at that threshold that we're talking about. For me, it worked out fine. I do live in the older part of the Villages. If you're not familiar with the Villages, it kind of runs north and south. The northern end was the original area, so this area is, 20, 25 years old up here. All the newer sections south of 44, way down south, seem to be more of a younger crowd moving in the 50s and early 60s, and it makes sense because the people who were retiring 20 years ago bought in this area, and now they're much older than I am, right? For the large part. There are people my age in the north end for sure, but I'm saying largely this tends to be the older part of the Villages. They were retiring 20 years ago, so now they're here. I just bought here. They've been here for 20 years, so they're, roughly 20 years older than me. So a lot of my neighbors are in their late 70s, 80s, and 90s. And they're all great. I love my neighbors, but yeah, there's definitely a difference in age there. But how does that impact me? Quite honestly, it doesn't at all, because I look at this place like a normal suburb minus kids running around, right? So to me, walking around the Villages and doing stuff around the Villages, it looks like your typical all-American suburb. It really does. And I'm not saying you don't see kids around here, because you see grandkids and stuff visiting their grandparents and stuff like that. But in general, in your average neighborhood in America, there's kids playing in the street, riding bikes and all that kind of stuff. That's the only thing that's lacking here. But I wasn't hanging out with all my neighbors in those other areas. I would hang out with my coworkers or my military buddies, things like that, family, that kind of stuff. Moving here with the concern of age, to me, is irrelevant, because you find that you end up doing more here anyway with people in your age group, probably more than you did in your normal pre-retirement age, right? Because let's face it, you're working, you're coming home taking care of the house, you're taking care of the kids and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't like you were partying every day. If anything, here you end up living more of a youthful life because there's always something to do. I mean, everywhere around here. Now, block by block or village by village, there is definitely a difference. And I feel that there are more people my age, like I said before, down south, and there's probably a more fun vibe in general there because of that on a day-to-day basis, meaning that you might have a better chance of meeting people your age down there if you're living in the southern areas. And that's just my honest opinion. I could be wrong, and I'm not trying to influence anything. I like living up near Spanish Springs. It's nice up here. I like the mature trees and all that. But there's a part of me, and I've said it in my other videos, I would consider moving a little further south, maybe find more people in my peer group, you know. But having said that, from one end to the other is a half an hour, so I could sign up for any of these groups and participate and meet people and do that kind of thing that way anyway, so it's really not an impact. I would say that if you're looking more, like I said earlier, if you're looking for more of a nightlife kind of lifestyle that goes well into the evening or a much wider variety of things to do, then you might want to be closer to a more metropolitan area like Orlando. I mean, Orlando has everything going on down there, and there are some nice retirement communities down there as well. Price-wise, are very competitive to the Villages, especially like, you know, if you're not a golfer, you don't necessarily need all these golf courses and that kind of thing. But anyway, back to the topic of age. Am I too young to have moved here to the Villages at 59? Are you too young to move here in your, you know, from 55 to 60? That's a case-by-case situation, you know. I don't know what you're looking for. I don't know what your lifestyle is like right now. I like my neighbors. The odd thing is, because there's about that 15 to 20 year gap. If my parents were alive, they would be my parents' age, so that's pretty much my whole street. But everybody's great here. Everybody's nice. I feel a little bit out of place. You know, I ride a Harley, which is obnoxiously loud. Like, I won't fire up my bike early in the morning, and I don't want to come home late at night on the Harley because it'll wake everybody up, and I don't want to do that to my neighbors. So I'm gonna have to modify my exhaust if I stay here in this neighborhood. I don't know if that would impact anybody down south, if anybody would care. But so it's things like that where I can definitely feel that, yeah, I'm probably a little too young for my particular area. But that's really, was it any different in any other suburb I lived in? There was a wider variety of ages for sure, from kids to retired people everywhere I've lived before. Where here it's a little bit more focused, so I probably have a greater chance of being around people my age by moving here because it narrowed down to, you know, senior citizens. So it's an interesting thing to think about. I would say, again, that it's a case-by-case basis. Depends on what you like to do. My strongest recommendation, and you've heard it from me before and all the other YouTubers that talk about the Villages, do a lifestyle visit, or better yet, even rent a house and stay longer. Come to and do that a couple times. I did it once and then bought a place, and I kind of wish I would have scoped out a little longer, but that's just how I roll, you know. But anyway, I would definitely suggest coming down a few times, check it out, check out all the different areas of the Villages. Up north, tend to find really good bargains, and there's a lot of cool, you know, maturity to this place as far as the trees. It's beautiful up here. It's beautiful all over the Villages, but each section has its own uniqueness to it. Down south of 44 has a very young vibe, and all the houses have, you know, are more modern or currently styled, so they have a nice, cool, fresh look to it. You know, the streets are new, and all the facilities that are newer down there are pretty cool. You know, around Brownwood is a real hot area. Everybody wants to be around Brownwood. And I mentioned before, I'm looking forward to seeing how Eastport, which is going to be the new section way down south, that's going to have a lake similar like Lake Sumter kind of feel to it, but with new facilities, and then even laid out even better, they're saying, than Lake Sumter, which is pretty cool. So we'll see. But anyway, come and check it out. No matter what age group you think you fall in there, you're gonna find people your age here, and I'm referring to 55 and over. Do I think I'm too young to have moved to the Villages? No. Do I think I'm too young to have moved to my neighborhood in the very north end? Maybe. And maybe it wouldn't be right for you. But I'm okay with it right now. But that's my honest view on the whole thing, and I'm still new. I'm still learning a lot about the Villages, and I'm learning a lot about myself living here, So anyway, I hope this video generated some thought or some interesting thought or conversations, and I appreciate all you guys commenting because, I didn't even think about that much till I saw a few comments, and I was like, man, that's a great thing to talk about and to wonder about and to think about. And Gridley's getting restless again, so I might have to take him out for a late night walk. I really appreciate you showing interest in this channel. I'm not a realtor. I don't know what I'm talking about half the time. I'm just sharing some thoughts, and it's kind of helping me adapt to living in the Villages and figure things out. And you guys are teaching me a lot, so I appreciate you all. Take care of each other out there. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. You hear Gridley growling at me. So, all right, guys, have a good one, and we'll catch you on the next video. See ya.